The movie begins in a jungle called Pride Rock, a vast and beautiful jungle so green and lush that it is called the heaven for animals. In this movie, we see that Simba, the son of Mufasa, now rules the entire jungle. Simba, who is married to Nala, now has a daughter named Kiara. Simba is walking happily with his daughter Kiara through the jungle when he suddenly catches a smell that makes him realize that his wife Nala is in trouble. After realizing this, Simba takes Kiara to their cave, tells her to stay there, and assures her that he will return by evening after rescuing Nala. Kiara gets scared, but Simba tells her not to worry, as Timon and Pumbaa will take care of her. Time passes and it starts raining heavily. Kiara, who was recently born, experiences rain for the first time and, like most lions, is afraid of water. But then Rafiki enters the cave and Kiara feels happy to see him because she loves him, and Rafiki considers her his granddaughter. Kiara tells Rafiki that she is scared of water, and in response, Rafiki tells her that the great lions of her bloodline too were once afraid of water, but they overcame that fear and became brave lions. Kiara responds saying that her father Simba and her grandfather Mufasa were brave lions, but she doesn't think she could ever be as brave as them. Hearing this, Rafiki decides to tell Kiara the story of a lion who was once her age, and this lion is none other than Mufasa. Rafiki then begins the story, and we are transported back many years ago. We see Mufasa as a cub born to Ahadi and Uru, two lions who lived in a barren and empty jungle. However, Mufasa's parents often told him stories of a lush, green jungle filled with water located far beyond the mountains. This jungle was called Malela, and it lay to the east of the sun. Mufasa's parents also told him that one day he must reach this jungle. One day, while Mufasa is playing with his parents, a drop of water falls on his face. Looking up, he sees dark clouds gathering in the sky, and he realizes that it is going to rain. All the animals in the jungle begin to rejoice, and Mufasa too runs to a nearby stream to play in the water. Soon the rain starts pouring heavily, and Mufasa's parents are also filled with joy. However, the rain becomes so heavy that it causes a flood in the stream. Ahadi, Mufasa's father, tries to save him but is unable to do so as the strong current sweeps Mufasa away. Mufasa is carried away by the water to a new territory where another lion's kingdom is located. When Mufasa regains consciousness, he finds himself hanging from a tree branch above the water. He looks around and sees another lion cub of his age. The cub introduces himself as Taka. Taka warns Mufasa to get out of the water quickly because there are crocodiles that might eat him. As Mufasa tries to escape the water, two crocodiles approach him, but just in time, Taka pulls Mufasa to safety. Taka's mother Yasha arrives and scolds him for being out in the open, as he is the son of the jungle's king. However, Taka explains that he saved Mufasa's life and introduces him to his mother. Yasha, understanding that Mufasa is lost, feels pity for him and takes him to her husband Ubasi, the king of the jungle. Ubasi, though reluctant, agrees to take Mufasa in after Yasha convinces him. Ubasi, however, proposes a race between Mufasa and Taka to decide if Mufasa can stay. If Mufasa wins, he will be allowed to stay. Mufasa, exhausted from all that had happened, is slower in the race, but Taka, seeing his condition, and lets him win, wanting to make Mufasa his friend. After the race, Ubasi, though disappointed that Taka lost, keeps his word and allows Mufasa to stay with their family. Mufasa then becomes part of their family, living with Taka like a brother. Mufasa says that he will only stay with female lions. After this, Mufasa and Taka become very good friends, and they always play together. Over time, Aisha also starts to see Mufasa as her son and teaches him all the fighting techniques. However, if we move away from Mufasa and focus on Taka, we find that Taka mostly stayed with his father Obasi, who was a very lazy lion. Because of this, Obasi couldn't teach Taka much. As time passed, several years went by, and Mufasa and Taka grew up. As they reached adulthood, it became clear that Mufasa was special compared to the other lions. This was because his sense of smell was not only sharper, but his other senses were also far more acute than those of the other lions. As a result, Mufasa could always tell in advance where the prey was and how far it was from him. One day, Mufasa goes hunting with his mother Aisha. However, when they reach the hunting grounds, many other lions from another forest also arrive. These lions are white in color, much larger, and much more ferocious. Seeing this, Aisha tells Mufasa to hide and also hides herself. But the white lions spot both of them and immediately attack. Despite the attack, Mufasa doesn't get scared. He bravely faces them, and at that moment, Taka arrives from behind. Upon seeing Mufasa fighting all the white lions alone, Taka lacks the courage to help. He becomes so scared that he hides in the bushes to escape from the the white lions. But since Mufasa is very brave, he faces the white lions alone and kills one of them. When one of the white lions dies, the rest of them flee. Aisha gets slightly injured during the fight, but Mufasa quickly tells her to go home. Just then, Taka emerges from the bushes and apologizes. He admits that he had been hiding watching Mufasa fight the white lions, but lacked the courage to step forward and help. Aisha tells him that he doesn't need to apologize and that he will have another opportunity to prove his bravery. After this, the three of them return home. Upon seeing their condition, Obasi asks what happened to them. Aisha tells him everything, and when Obasi learns of the events, he thanks Mufasa, telling him that if it weren't for him, Aisha wouldn't be alive. Mufasa, however, replies to Obasi, saying that he doesn't feel proud of himself for doing it. Mufasa feels that the white lions will come back to take revenge. Hearing this, Obasi tries to confirm Mufasa's words and sends one of his men into the territory of the white lions. The man sent by Obasi arrives and learns that the white lions are telling their king everything that happened during the day. Listening to their conversation, it becomes clear that the white lion killed by Mufasa was the son of the White Lion King. The king's name is Kiros, and he is the most powerful and fearsome of them all. When Kiros hears the news of his son's death, he roars in fury and immediately decides to kill Mufasa, the murderer of his son. Not only that, but he also decides to kill Taka, because Taka is the son of the king of another jungle, and Kiros wants to settle the score with him as well. After learning all this, Obasi's man returns and informs Obasi of the situation. Obasi and the whole family now know that by morning, Kiros and his army will come to kill both Mufasa and Taka. Upon hearing this, Obasi and Aisha are filled with fear. However, they tell Mufasa and Taka that they must leave immediately and go to a place known as the Animal Paradise, far beyond the mountains. This place is far enough that if they go there, Kiros and his men will not be able to follow them. At first, Mufasa and Taka refuse to leave, but due to their parents' insistence, they are forced to go. The next morning, we see Kiros and his entire army arriving at Obasi and Aisha's location. As soon as Kiros arrives, he demands Mufasa and Taka. However, Obasi, hearing Kiros's demand, tells him that he does not want any fight and requests that Kiros take his army and leave. Obasi explains to Kiros that lions have certain rules, and according to these rules, no lion can enter another lion's territory without permission. But Kiros doesn't care about any rules. He is there solely to kill Mufasa and Taka. Since neither Obasi, Aisha, nor any of their men reveal anything about Mufasa and Taka's whereabouts, Kiros and his army decide to kill everyone present. Meanwhile, Mufasa and Taka have already traveled a long distance and are watching the sunrise. While following the path, Mufasa and Taka were heading towards the Animal Paradise. Along the way, they were very worried about their family, but suddenly they noticed a large number of birds flying and chirping around them. Hearing the birds chirp, Mufasa realizes that Kiros and his men are likely following them. Knowing this, Mufasa and Taka start running as fast as they can and end up covering a significant distance. However, they soon encounter a waterfall, and both of them hesitate to jump into it. But since they have no other option, they both jump into the waterfall. Shortly after they jump, Kiros arrives at the waterfall, and looking down, he orders his men to quickly find Mufasa and Taka. He vows to end their lives. Meanwhile, Mufasa and Taka continue walking through the jungle, and it is now night. They both feel that someone might have been following them for a while. When Mufasa looks behind, he discovers that a lioness has been trailing them. This lioness, who is of their age, introduces herself as Sarabi. She too is the daughter of a king lion, but got lost in the jungle some time ago. Sarabi is accompanied by a bird named Jaju, who serves as her protector. After exchanging details about themselves, the four of them come together and form a team, continuing their journey together. Soon after, we see a large tree with many monkeys on it. However, the monkeys are all shouting at one monkey, asking it to leave. This particular monkey is different from the others, not only in appearance, but also because it has some special powers. Because of these powers, many dangerous animals would climb the tree to attack him, and the other monkeys had to bear the brunt of these attacks. As a result, the monkeys decide to expel this monkey from their group. Rafiki, who is now telling a story to Simba's daughter Kiara. As Rafiki moves through the jungle, he eventually meets Mufasa and his team. After meeting him, they accept him into their group. Rafiki also learns that Mufasa and his team are on the right path, and uses his special powers to confirm that they are heading in the correct direction. Mufasa and his team continue their journey with Rafiki joining them. As they travel, morning arrives. In this scene, Taka approaches Mufasa and confesses that he has fallen in love with Sarabi. Taka then asks Mufasa to give him some advice on how to express his feelings to Sarabi. Hearing Taka express his feelings, Mufasa tells him to say to Sarabi that her body smells like flowers. Taka asks Mufasa how he should know that for sure. Mufasa responds that his sense of smell is much stronger than that of other lions. So Taka approaches Sarabi and tells her, "You smell like flowers." Sarabi feels flattered by this and starts talking to Taka happily. However, after a little while, they notice that Kiros and his entire army have surrounded them. There is no way for them to escape. But at this moment, Rafiki notices a large group of elephants passing by. He suggests to Mufasa that if they somehow distract the elephants and scatter them, they might be able to escape from Kiros and his army. Rafiki then spots a beehive nearby and immediately attacks it. As a result, a swarm of bees flies out and starts stinging the elephants, causing them to scatter. This confusion prevents Kiros and his men from reaching Mufasa and his team. The stampede forces Mufasa and his team to hide because being crushed under the elephants could have killed them. While Mufasa and the others manage to hide, Sarabi gets knocked unconscious after colliding with one of the elephants. Since Sarabi has fallen unconscious in the middle of the elephant herd, Mufasa rushes to her, picks her up, and takes her to safety. When Sarabi regains consciousness, she finds herself in a safe place with Mufasa and the rest of the team. She asks Mufasa who saved her. Mufasa tells her that Taka saved her, and he mentions Taka's name to encourage Sarabi and Taka to grow closer. Afterward, they continue their journey and eventually arrive at a large mountain range. Upon seeing the mountains, Rafiki uses his powers to confirm that they are on the right path. He reveals that behind these mountains lies animal heaven, so they begin climbing the mountains quickly. Meanwhile, Kiros and his army also arrive at the base of the mountains. As Mufasa realizes that Kiros is still tracking them, he understands that Kiros will follow their tracks, so he orders Jaju to fly above and cause snow to fall covering their footprints. Mufasa's plan works, and Kiros and his army become confused, unable to follow them. Later, we see Mufasa and Sarabi alone. Sarabi then tells Mufasa that when she was unconscious, she had a feeling that someone was saving her. She knows now that it wasn't Taka, but Mufasa who saved her. Mufasa accepts this in front of Sarabi, acknowledging that he was the one who saved her. Now Sarabi too acknowledges Mufasa's role in saving her. Mufasa and Sarabi confess their love for each other, after which we see that the bond between them is now broken. However, Taka sees them from a distance, and upon realizing that Mufasa and Sarabi are together, he feels that Sarabi belongs to Mufasa now. This triggers hatred in Taka as he believes Mufasa has taken away his love. Driven by this jealousy, Taka decides to take revenge on Mufasa. Later that night, Taka makes his way down the mountainside in search of Kiros and his men. When he meets Kiros, he tells him that he wants to join forces with him because Mufasa is his enemy too, and he also wants to kill him. Kiros, after hearing this, accepts Taka into his team. They decide that from now on, Taka will leave behind claw marks wherever he goes, so Kiros and his men can follow them and track Mufasa. The plan is to kill Mufasa once Kiros and his men catch up to him. Afterward, Taka leaves to meet Mufasa. When he reaches Mufasa, it's morning. Mufasa sees him and asks where he had been all night. Taka responds that he was hunting but didn't find anything. They continue their journey and head toward Malel. After walking for a while, they reach Malel, a lush and beautiful jungle that's considered a paradise for animals. However, upon entering, the animals of Malel approach Mufasa and warn him to leave immediately because Kiros is after him. They say that if Kiros catches up, not only will Mufasa be in danger, but all of them will be killed. Mufasa tells the animals that Kiros can't reach them because they didn't leave any tracks behind as they entered. Just then, Mufasa hears a growl from behind, and when he turns around, he sees Kiros and his men. Mufasa is shocked, wondering how they arrived. Kiros then explains that Taka helped them by leaving tracks to guide them here. Hearing this, Mufasa doesn't believe it at first, but then Kiros attacks Mufasa, and a fierce battle begins between them, while Mufasa's team fights Kiros's men. In the struggle, Mufasa, Kiros, and Taka all fall into a ravine. Even after falling, the fight continues with Kiros being much stronger and more powerful than Mufasa. Eventually, Taka remembers what his mother Asha had told him, that he would one day get a chance to show his bravery and that he shouldn't waste that opportunity. With this memory, Taka decides to help Mufasa in the fight. During the battle, Kiros lands a powerful blow to Mufasa's face, but Taka steps in the way and takes the hit, leaving a scar on his face. After this, Taka and Mufasa join forces and fight Kiros together. They manage to push Kiros into the water, where a large boulder falls on him, killing him. With Kiros gone, Mufasa becomes the king of Malel because he saved the animals there. Mufasa reunites with his mother, and they are both overjoyed to be together again after so many years apart. But the animals of Malel, despite Mufasa's victory, still want Taka out because they believe he betrayed Mufasa. Mufasa, however, refuses and tells them that as long as he is the king, Taka will remain by his side. In the end, Taka decides to change his name to Scar, symbolizing his guilt and the mistake of his past actions. He wants to always remember his wrongs. The story ends with Kiara, Simba's daughter, learning about the tale, and Simba and Nala, her parents, also arriving with their newborn baby. The movie ends with a happy family moment.